Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jamison. Bobby is not here today. We let the boys loose, and we're talking some OU baseball. You're listening to the Schooner Pod. OU baseball, the hottest team in the nation right now. And even though we usually only talk about football, this is going to be only an OU baseball pod. So we had to bring on Boaton Blake himself, aficionado of all college baseball, and then Ty to bring us all of his wild card takes. You've been watching the games, Ty. These have been pretty fun, honestly.
I have. I also have when I've been on mute, but I have. Yesterday was one of the most exciting. I think that's the most exciting baseball game I've seen on TV ever. I was so invested in it, and obviously it wasn't super close, but just the roller coaster of OU just performing so well, and then we had some honestly maybe kind of goofy base running decisions somewhere around. I think it was maybe the fourth, and then Notre Dame seeming like they had the momentum and possibly coming back. And then right in the ninth, Notre Dame really getting some momentum going, and it was really feeling risky. And then that amazing double play to sort of just take the wind out of their sails and more or less wrap up the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Whenever you're up that big early in the game, up 4-0, and we won the game 6-2 versus Notre Dame yesterday. Even just the smallest thing, of two men on base in the ninth inning, we are like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous now. But we pretty much had it the whole game. And even versus Texas A&M on Friday, we won 13-8, but we got out to an 8-0 lead. And even though Texas A&M started hacking away, scoring some runs, it makes you think a little bit like, oh, maybe they could come back. But for the most part, other than our insecurities, we pretty much handled every single inning of the College World Series so far and felt pretty comfortable during it. Blake, what have you thought of the Sooners so far? Is there any team right now in Omaha playing better than us?
I don't think so. The only other candidate you would think of is Ole Miss, just coming in as the final seed in the regionals and somehow making it to Omaha. We know that they came in with the season with really high expectations, but the Sooners are doing their strengths right now or what they've been weak on all season. I know I came on last week and talked to Bobby that OU was the outlier of the field that didn't even place in the top 100 when it came to their staff ERA. But look, they've been able to rely on their bullpen. They've been able to rely on two incredible starting pitcher performances. And that's all you can really ask for in Omaha because now they put themselves in a position, they get an extra day's rest, and basically they can have their choice at who they want to pitch next game if they want to go try to knock them out first, get Jake Bennett out there again, or just let the guys rest, have Jake Bennett ready for a potential just like game 3 to make it to the College World Series final. So I think OU is by far the hottest team right now.
Yeah, for sure. Cade Horton's really, taking over the number 2 spot in the pitching is a big deal. He's still throwing heat. And, like you said, Jake Bennett in the back of your, in your back pocket is huge. When it comes down to on Wednesday, it is kind of like what are we going to pick? Are we going to pick our number 1 ace and just kind of finish it off? I personally think that you would kind of hold him back and not play him on Wednesday, keep him for Thursday just in case in a must-win scenario. And if you do end up winning, if we put out Cade Horton, say on Wednesday again, with him as a starting pitcher, or, one of our third strings, and we win that game, we still have Jake Bennett with even more rest coming into Friday, or coming into Saturday for the College World Series final. So we've got the inside track. For people who haven't been following us close with OU baseball, I'm sure a lot of y'all have, but essentially the scenario is if we win on Wednesday, which would therefore be the winner of the Texas A&M Notre Dame game that will be playing on Tuesday. If we win on Wednesday, we advance straight to the finals, and the first game would be Saturday. But if we lose that, we get another chance. It's a double elimination. Everyone stays on the same side of the bracket, and we have to play that Notre Dame Texas A&M winner again on Thursday. We kind of saw with softball, we saw that we didn't bring out our ace in that double elimination game in game 1 whenever OU softball was in it. So I'm just kind of inferring from that as kind of a strategy standpoint that makes more sense to me. But the way our bats are playing, our pitching's been great, but, we're hitting the ball really well and getting out to early leads fast. That, to be honest with you, I'd rather be conservative with who I'm sending out as my pitching and keep my ace in my back pocket.
For sure. I think an interesting comparison between the softball and the baseball that a lot of people, if you get caught up in it, you might be forgetting is softball, we're coming in as the expectants. We're the villain, we're the ones always winning, we're the team to beat. Here, it's much more of a Cinderella story type thing. Obviously, we have a tremendous team, and like we just talked about, I think undoubtedly we're playing the best of anyone in the tournament right now. But like we talked about in the pre-CWS pod, it's almost a house money situation, and that momentum is so crucial because we're sort of the underdog team. We're sort of the team that nobody expected to be there, not traditionally a baseball school, and we're coming out here and truly outperforming. It's not flukes, we're not winning off wild errors and crazy stuff, just fundamentally great performances and stringing inning after inning together, like we talked about. Just been excellent in every single inning that we've played. So I think that it's just something super interesting. Didn't necessarily tie in too much to pitching strategy, but sort of momentum and then softball, like we just talked about.
Yeah, it feels really good to have a team that feels like everything that we're doing right now is doing it at a high level. I haven't seen too many weaknesses in our team right now. Obviously, we're not like a super powerhouse. We are obviously a beatable team. I'm worried about typical like the matchups with Arkansas or Ole Miss on the other side of the bracket. And even Texas A&M is playing really good baseball right now. We're not unbeatable, but what we saw during the regular season, we saw games where our pitching would just throw at ridiculous games. We always like to bring up the Wichita State game. We've seen games where our hitting just went cold. And I feel like both are extreme strengths for us to where it's really big. And we say it all the time in basketball and football, but getting hot at the right time and having confidence in yourself is so key because you feel like that you can't lose. You're on a roll. And confidence in sports is such a big deal because whenever you're the most confident is whenever you're playing at the highest level.
Yeah, and I think baseball, especially, even more than football and basketball, that when you look at the statistics and the breakdowns of when guys are getting hits, usually it's not you're hitting 1 for 3 each game. They're coming in small spurts that they're going to go 3 for 4 for a game, 3 for 5. You're going to see those hot streaks in a really condensed area, and it's just a good thing to see that OU has been able to consolidate that right at the end of their season to go through the Big 12, regional, super regionals, and now into Omaha, and it's basically they are performing at their best and really heads above their statistics even going into this tournament.
Yeah. Ty, I got a question for you. So obviously you're talking about the third base, the triple decisions, getting to third base. Did you see Graham's stomach after he got kicked by his the slide into third? You got that big old
I did when the cleat caught him.
As the leading medicine man of this podcast, do you think that's going to impact him in the future games?
Well, yeah, since we're talking medicine, I guess we're going to discount him going and seeing a psychologist about that. But I think
obviously the comments stop
because baseball is an inherently non-physical sport, much like golf. I don't think it'll really affect him that much because when you really think about it, all you have to do is stand around outside for a few hours and chew on things. So if a cow can do it, certainly someone with a cleat mark can.
Okay, into a more serious question to Blake. I'm honestly curious. I don't like to look too far in the future, but are you more worried about Texas A&M again or Notre Dame again? And then are you more worried about an Arkansas or Ole Miss if we were to make it to the finals?
I'm probably worried about A&M on y'all's side of the bracket. They are Notre Dame. Really, their pitching staff was John Michael Bertrand, who they pitched against Texas. Great outing, but they've kind of used him up, so they're probably not going to have him. I guess maybe if they took y'all to a game 3, but I'm probably not going to see him. And when it comes to A&M, their stats don't light up the page, but Jim Schlossnagle, our old coach, he's been to Omaha several times. He has that experience, and we kind of saw it against yesterday versus Texas, who I had winning the entire thing. I came on this podcast last week saying if they lost 2 in a row, that would be the biggest disappointment because they were by far the most well-rounded team. But he just knows how to manage a bullpen. He knows how to get in these situations when he's down, when he has to win 2 games in a row, and how to manage your bullpen, how to manage your starting lineups and stuff like that. So I would just be more scared of him. But if OU can get Jake Bennett on the mound for the last game. I think y'all are fine in your bracket. But if you're looking at the other side, I think right now Stanford Auburn's going on. I think Stanford's toast. I wasn't even scared of them, but I would just go Arkansas. I think Ole Miss has the momentum, but Arkansas has the pitching, and their guys are, I guess, similar to OU, where they don't necessarily have the the regular season success that you've seen, but they have the stuff. Like Cade Horton the other day had pro level stuff with that slider, and that kind of scares me. I don't like nasty pitching whenever it comes down to a 3-game series. So I'm going to go Arkansas, but I think OU is definitely, if they make it to the College World Series, it's going to go 3 games. I can't see OU just getting swept.
Yeah. Arkansas was scary too, because you talk about the pitching, that's what they're known for, but the way they're hitting, and we saw that versus Oklahoma State, in their regional, and then on a couple days ago, 17 runs that Arkansas put up? Like, we're talking about a bunch of hot teams right now, all coming in unranked, and so we're sitting here as an OU podcast talking like OU's hot, won the Big 12 championship, coming in unranked, but we say the same thing. Ole Miss shouldn't even have made the tournament. We're thinking about firing their coach. And look what they're doing. They're here and playing one of the most dominant, teams right now. And then Arkansas, the same thing, coming out, beating Oklahoma State, a team that had a lot of firepower and a lot of heavy hitting matchups in their regional, and now looking very dominant in Omaha. So we've got similar storylines to OU next to us. But we're not alone. So it's kind of easy to kind of stay in our little boat, but there's a lot of other things going on the other side of the bracket. Ty, moving on from just kind of like, basic baseball analysis, but there's still a lot to see. But one thing that's been really bugging me, and I know you absolutely have a strong opinion on this, is the Jello Shot thing in Omaha, because this bugs me so much. So much. I understand it's a competition. Great business scheme by whatever this place is called. $4.50 for a Jello Shot makes me want to squirm. Y'all know how cheap I am. I want to spend 30 cents less if I don't have to add pickles onto my burger. $4.50 for a Jello Shot? Are you kidding me? How are people buying so many of these? They're not even making them in-house. It's the little pre-store bought ones. They aren't in the back whipping up some Jello with some vodka in it on the stovetop. Is this ridiculous? Is this smart? Are these people dumb? What is it here?
This is actually, I'm glad we have Blake on here for this, because like you talked about, it just seems sort of artificial to begin with, to me, the way it's being broadcast on social media. It seems like something a marketing team came up with, and they're just trying to force it. Obviously, people that are there are buying into it, but $4 something for a Jello Shot is crazy. And then also I saw that they have a $20 minimum charge if you're going to pay with a card, which it's 2022. What else are you going to pay with? But I think there's an interesting point here, because ultimately I think that this is just cringe and they should be taken down. So I'm curious the legalities of what a Jello Shot actually is, because is it a drink? Because I think drinks have maybe a different sort of sanitary and whatever else standard from the FDA. I think if they were food items, maybe there might be some violations that we could get, because I don't necessarily see how a Jello Shot can be a drink if it's Jello, because Jello is not a liquid in its final form. So at that point, are we talking, something with a wine-based sauce? Are you now declaring your chicken in a wine-based sauce as a garnish for a drink? I really think that there's some legal avenues we can take to hopefully shut down the Jello Shot challenge, but then also this entire restaurant for just trying to do social media marketing, which is inherently the root of all evil.
I start a lawsuit for damages, Blake?
We might have to, because I pulled up the Twitter account. I was just seeing where things are at. And their first tweet that just popped up is some random hunting brand from Arkansas just dropped over $2,000 on Jello Shots to put Arkansas over the top. This is some sort of embezzlement marketing scheme that they're just trying to use it to get around some sort of taxes or on something on advertising, because this is insane. Nobody in their right mind is spending over over $2,000 on Jello Shots. No way. They bought, how many was that? 500 Jello Shots. That should not be allowed. IRS, you should, as a company, or gosh, it's so blurry, you should not be allowed to do this. You should not be allowed to spend $2,000 of your business's own money on $4 Jello Shots. It seems illegal as all get out.
All right, so I am currently doing some high-end investigative work. I am on Slurp Shots website right now, trying to figure out how much they're selling these pack of 20 for. But there's no way that a 20 pack of these Jello Shots are worth even close to $80 or $90 what they're doing for. Their margins on these shots are going to be absolutely ridiculous. And if I'm going to a place that is selling Jello Shots, this is Jello Shots. Not everyone's done them, but a lot of people have done them. And if you've done them, you're like, okay, that was cool, but like that kind of sucked. And it's like, but if they're made in packaged to like store for a long time, can you imagine how much worse they are? So people are just buying 500 Jello Shots. They're like, now what do I do? Like, you're not even enjoying these. Can you imagine going to a bar and you're like, I just bought a bunch of Jello Shots, so I guess that's what I'm drinking tonight. And that just sounds miserable. I'm very upset with this.
It has to be fake. I'm looking at videos that they're posting of them breaking the records, and there's not a single plastic container or Jello Shot in sight. Like, I haven't seen anybody actually in any of these videos take a Jello Shot, so where are they going? Where is this plastic going? Because I'm not seeing it on Twitter. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Nobody's shown what the Jello Shots actually look like, but I guess they're selling thousands of them, but every video you see, you don't see a single one.
Maybe they're NFT. Maybe they're NFT Jello Shots.
All right, that's right. Now that we got to start mint NFTs here. I see $19.99 for a 20 pack of some Slurp Jello Shots. So margins wise, they're over 4 times. That's just ridiculous.
I double checked. Nebraska does not have any price gouging laws, presumably because there's not really any natural disasters that occur in Nebraska other than living in Nebraska being in and of itself a disaster. But
there's not many other places to go.
Yeah, so when you're just constantly in a state of emergency, I guess emergency price gouging laws are not a thing you need. So we can't necessarily attack them from that angle. If they're prepackaged Jello Shots, then health and safety, that might be a tougher way to pursue them legally. So I like Blake's go after them for some sort of tax thing, because then presumably if we did find something, we could get a certain cut of that for what is it called? Reporting it or whatever.
Finder's fee. I don't know what you're talking about. But here's my process.
There's a process when you report someone for tax fraud where you can get sort of a reward.
They're obviously running a business here, and they're upping their price because they're getting more demand. Last year it was $4. Now it's $4.50 per shot. I understand that. That is completely okay that you are making a lot of money here, and there's a lot of demand, so you're going to up your price. But when you're buying these 20 packs and you're upping the price of something that you're already getting for the same price that you did last year, I would have been okay if they had like one cook in the back who's like Popeye's worker sweat level, like getting just worked like by the Popeye's sandwich craze. And he's just like, oh God, someone just ordered 500 Jello Shots. He's just stirring a big old pot of Jello. I would feel better if that was the case, if they were raising the price. But it just doesn't sit right with me. I'm sure they have a giant back room just of a bunch of canisters of Jello Shots just ready to go. I wish there was some more, some man hours put into this.
I think this could be also, though, a potential weekend spread punishment that maybe the loser within a year has to do the amount of shots bought by OU fans that they have to consume that many Slurp Jello Shots in a year. I would love to see it, and you have to document every single one.
My God, our livers are already slowly dying. I think about it every once in a while, and I'm just like, I wonder what my liver looks like right now if we wouldn't just did a dissection to see if it was just eroding away already. We do not want to make ourselves do that, because we would easily get liver cirrhosis, liver failure, and then kidney failure from the sugar, diabetes on top of that. Like, we would get like a laundry list of complications if we did that, because this is not just like we're just pounding, like straight liquor. The amount of sugar in those and preservatives to keep that going. Oh my God. And let's look at it. With the percent, it's 13% alcohol too. So
yeah, I'd be more worried about the sugar.
Yeah, I really think that there's also a medical legal loophole there as well, because your doctor always asks you how much do you drink per month, but as we've sort of settled, Jello shots are not a drink; they are a food item, because like Jello without alcohol. Would you say, yeah, this is my drink? It's Jello? No, it's a solid. It is a
Now
food.
that's a loophole.
Yeah, so it is a legal loophole, and I think that preserves there's no consequences for your liver, because they never ask how many alcohols do you eat per month. So I think our livers would be fine in that situation.
Next
I
time
think
I
Ty
have
also
like a patient come in and they're
That's
like
a professional
yellow,
medical opinion, and
if they come in,
we
they're
can
really
take that to the
yellow and
bank.
jaundiced. I'm like, how much alcohol do you drink? And they're like, oh, really not that much, just casually on the weekends. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I should have rephrased that question. How much alcohol do you drink or eat? It could be rum, ham, or Jello shots. I did not
Oh
include
yeah,
those.
yeah. Is rum ham?
This
Is that a drink? That's another thing. Also, quick
I
reminder.
think this
for-
expands. Oh, go.
I was just
sorry.
going to say, quick reminder for the viewers: legally, anything you say on a podcast is professional medical advice and should be taken as such. And if you have a problem with that, my attorney is also right here. So everything I say has also been legally vetted.
Ty also brings up an interesting point. Like maybe in the legal world, it's like, say somebody gets pulled over for a little DUI, and the officer comes up to you,
the
sir,
Jello
how many
shot
drinks have you had
defense.
tonight? How many drinks have you had tonight? And you could just be like, none. I haven't had a single one.
That is a God,
See,
like
like-
really, like a law school argument of Your Honor. That's a Better Call Saul entire episode. Your Honor, my client was asked how much he drank. He did not drink. He had rum, ham, and Jello shots. He did not understand the question.
Oh my God. That's okay. I think we're onto something here, but the bad part is we're convincing ourselves into Jello shots as a mainstay drink for us rather than convincing us away from it. I don't like the schooner pot idea of the Jello shots, and I think we can all come together, because even though eating glizzies as fast as you can last season was not, the most beneficial thing to your health, the amount of Jello shots that you have to drink would be ridiculous. And I would not like to give more press to this place that is absolutely stealing money from people and is pressing on ideas to the social media world that we do not want to see. I'm not a fan of the social media craze with all the Jello shots, and here we are talking on a podcast about it for 10 to 15 minutes.
We fall into the trap.
The real crime is having a Twitter. Is really the real crime there.
Sooner or later, we're going to get Ty the keys to the Schooner Pod Twitter, and you guys are going to see some more memes. But, I mean, other than that, y'all got anything else that's been bugging you about Omaha? Because there really isn't much else to talk about. Who would you – okay, I'll just say this. We'll just end it on this. Who would you want to see in the finals versus OU? I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still got to win one more game. But who would you want to see the most? I want to see Arkansas the most, even though they scare me the most. But I just think that it would be a really cool road that we're going against, Texas A&M, and then Notre Dame, all teams that we have, a history with. And then Arkansas has a very, stout history with us. But I just think that's just more fun for like storylines and stuff, even though they kind of scare me the most. Obviously, I'd want to pick Auburn or Stanford if I had my choice. But who would you think would be the funnest matchup to see? I'll let you go first, Ty.
I think Arkansas adds legitimacy, right? If they're the sort of the big, scary Darth Vader villain that everyone knows is good. But I like Ole Miss for the storyline because, like you guys said, a very similar sort of path to the finals as OU, assuming we go to the finals, is that sort of nobody really expected them to be here. We expected, Texas out of the Big 12 to be winning that and then sweeping like Blake said. So I like the matchup between OU and Ole Miss, but at the same time, say OU hypothetically won that, I could see arguments of, oh, well, by a fluke, Arkansas was out, and it sort of devalues that championship. Championships are championships, but I'll go Ole Miss.
And I'll go Arkansas. I just think Arkansas fans are always hilarious because I feel like nobody's a rival with Arkansas. Wait, what?
I'm sorry. Our YouTube has been infiltrated. Go to the comments section. What is going on here?
Oh, no!
Bobby, you leave us alone, and all of a sudden we've got
Oh, no!
some spam. Oh no! For everyone listening right now, do not go to our YouTube and click Bobby, help.
What the? Oh no!
Bobby's in the comments. Bobby, help. For everyone listening on podcast, we've been infiltrated by a website that seems to be cheaper than Tinder as a website to meet people. Oh God, Bobby needs to help us. This is not good. They let us have the keys for one day, and we're infiltrated. Okay,
Oh,
sorry
no.
to interrupt with laughing. Okay, Blake.
I don't know. Arkansas, I guess, but we've been hacked.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to end the podcast now. This was a great one. I really enjoyed talking to y'all. But that is absolutely
Bobby can't do anything. What's the point of being the owner of the Schooner Pod if you can't do anything?
I don't know what happened. I really don't know. I don't know what I typed in here to hit a keyword for someone to spam our comments. But that was a great episode. It was fun. But we've got to end it now before we get infiltrated even farther.
It's a new advertiser.
Ty and Blake, I'm not going to ask y'all's final thoughts. And we're just going to kick it out. But everyone, thank you for listening. And Boomer Sooner, and good luck to us.